We are right now following breaking news as conservative commentator and Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk has reportedly been rushed to the hospital in an unknown condition, according to his spokesperson, after an incident at a Turning Point USA event at a university in Utah. Right now, there are multiple reports coming in, and by the time this video goes live, some details may already have changed. I want to give you the latest information available and also share some thoughts on what has unfolded today. This is a tragic situation, as any form of violence in America is. Let me start with the most recent update we have. Breaking news. Charlie Kirk, the influential right-wing activist and founder of Turning Point USA, was reportedly injured during an event at Utah Valley University on Wednesday. Witnesses stated that the incident occurred while he was taking questions from students, according to local reporting. Many on social media have already shared photos, videos, and eyewitness accounts. Now, I want to make something very clear. I will not be showing any disturbing footage from this event. It is upsetting and triggering. And sadly, we see incidents of violence every day in this country. The truth is, America has reached a point where tragedies like this happen so frequently that people become numb to them. Gun violence remains the leading cause of death for children in America, and yet we continue to face political roadblocks that prevent meaningful reform. Let me be clear, I am not making this a political video. This is not about left versus right. When lives are at risk, it is about humanity. What happened today is a tragedy. Whatever you think about Charlie Kirk's views, he is a human being with a family. And just like so many other Americans, his family is now going through unimaginable fear and pain. But we also cannot ignore the reality. This was not only gun violence, it was political violence. And in America, political violence has sadly become far too common. We see people dehumanized, targeted, and attacked because of rhetoric and conspiracy theories. We've seen it before. Conspiracies spread, lies pushed into the mainstream, and eventually lives are put at risk. It was not that long ago that wild conspiracy theories were being pushed about secret plots and underground rings, which led to real-world harm. And yet, when powerful figures are caught in genuine scandals, the same voices go silent. We cannot ignore the fact that the same culture of misinformation and division has fueled a climate where acts of political violence take place. Let me also make this crystal clear, because I know people will clip this. I disagree with Charlie Kirk's politics completely. But that does not mean I want to see harm come to him, or to anyone for that matter. Violence is never the answer. Political commentators, regardless of their rhetoric, should never face assassination attempts or targeted attacks. Every act of violence should be condemned, full stop. What frustrates me, though, is how often we see leaders, especially on the right, downplay or excuse violence when it happens to others, only to demand outrage when it affects someone on their side. We saw attacks on Paul Pelosi mocked relentlessly, even by top political figures and their families. We saw memes and jokes about life-threatening incidents, and that hypocrisy makes it harder to address the real issues. The truth is, America's failure to pass meaningful reforms is directly tied to rhetoric pushed by powerful figures who claim to care about safety but refuse to take action. If leaders truly wanted to keep Americans safe, they would be willing to pass common-sense reforms supported by the overwhelming majority of people. But instead, profit and political gain stand in the way. Now, according to reports from Laura Loomer, at the moment of this incident, Charlie Kirk was reportedly talking about issues related to gun ownership in certain groups. Once again, this reflects how political conversations get redirected into fear campaigns instead of addressing real problems like healthcare, wages, housing, and yes, gun violence. Billionaire-funded organizations push distractions, telling people to blame minority groups instead of addressing the deeper struggles ordinary Americans face every day. So let me check my phone once more while I record this, because updates are still coming in. As of now, Charlie Kirk is alive, and I hope that remains the case by the time this video is published. This is a devastating tragedy, but we must use it as a reminder of why this keeps happening. Not just because of guns, but because of political rhetoric and division. All political violence must be condemned. That is not a question. And while some will accuse me of politicizing this, the reality is that violence itself is political when it is fueled by rhetoric, conspiracies, and indifference from leaders. We cannot shy away from talking about the root causes. I want to stress this again. I do not support Charlie Kirk's politics. I disagree with nearly everything he stands for, but I do not want him harmed. I do not want anyone harmed. And I hope that when this video goes live, we hear good news about his recovery. Every life lost to violence is a tragedy. We cannot only care when it happens to someone in our own political camp. Our compassion should extend to everyone, whether it's kids in American schools, families abroad in war zones, or political figures targeted at home. Violence is violence. So my heart goes out to Charlie Kirk's family. I hope for his recovery. And I also hope this moment can serve as yet another wake-up call that America does not need to live this way. We can demand better. We can demand reforms, and we should never have to be numb to violence, whether the victims are famous or not. This is breaking news, and I will continue to provide updates as they come in. Hopefully, by the time you watch this, we have hopeful news that Charlie Kirk is safe and recovering. Once again, this is not about politics. It is about humanity. And I thank you for listening.